fucking.
But he's not that far removed.
That's
yeah,
what I, yeah,
he's not that. We're not that fucking different from each other. We're not so different from each other that like you have such a crazy, independent, individual experience that I can't possibly understand in my life. Like, fuck that, bro. Like, that's not fucking true. Like.
Hindsight
2020.
Damn. Where we think about our year, our month, our week, and our day, but we don't regret none of it.
We don't regret none of that shit.
What's up, dog?
What's poppin', bro? How was your day?
It was cool, bro. Fucking got some music in. I'm always trying to get that grit and mix a little bit. Study, take some notes. Watch that last Hernandez video that we're gonna go over today. That's like the last installment of the episodes. Crazy. Saw my brother Corey.
Ooh,
I was sick.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him in a minute. We're getting
dope.
All of his wedding plans dialed in. He's about to get married in like June.
That's dope as fuck. Congrats to you, bro. Congrats to you, Corey.
June or July, something like that. I gotta figure all that out.
His woman doesn't know about it though, or it's all it's all locked in.
Yeah.
Not a surprise. Mm-mm. I guess that's just a me and Yamina thing. I'd be surprising her with everything.
Well, I mean, they already had like engagement party and stuff. But anyway, fucking just expanded my mind like I always do. That's it.
That's right. How's that book coming?
What book?
The book that Naka gave you that you were reading.
I am still just reading it. I'm halfway through, but like I said, I read 2 books at a time. So I'll be reading like an Egyptian book and then the quantum physics book. But it's just a lot of information to take in and just soak in and try to digest, and then go look up, outside sources to like, confirm,
verify.
Because it's not even really it's a less informational book, and it's like more of like how this dude just views all the different theories and like what his conclusion is in a way, if that makes sense.
It's more like philosophical than it is scientific.
A little bit, yeah. He brings the science. He obviously states the facts and like puts sources into it and stuff like that. But
it's like his twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Like him connecting the puzzle pieces. Mm-hmm. What's that Egyptian book going?
That one's called Black Land, Red Land, and that's just about like the Egyptians were. They called the Kemet is like the land of Kem, which is black, and that's like what they called like the sand and their skin. They're the land of the black people. But it was just that book is more of just about how they live their everyday life, papyrus, fucking how they wrote on papyrus and stuff like that, and how they did stonemasonry and like just really advanced for their time, and nobody even really takes the time to appreciate that. They had government structures, fucking plumbing, all that stuff, bro, before we even think that we're even thinking about that type of stuff.
So it's like more about their culture and less about like their ancient mythology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't really even go into their mythology really, unless it's like because their mythology is one with their culture, So like if it has to bring in Ra or like Atem or something like that, it will. Like for explanatory purposes. Always messing up the words. Dope. But yeah, how about you, bro?
I'm still reading that Conversations with God Part 2 book. I'm at a crazy point in the book where the dude is talking with God, and God is pretty much saying that Hitler went to heaven, and gives the reasoning. God gives like the reasoning behind why Hitler went to heaven, because Hitler was actually a voice representing what millions of people thought, so that millions of people in the whole world could like see their true reflection and like know themselves better and get rid of that kind of cruelty and hatred out of their mind state. But it like had to happen for people to like see it and realize those thoughts. And it was a crazy part of the book, especially because I'm Jewish. Like I understand that some people could read that and like process that in a way that, see the positives and how that happened. But I mean, and I am able to do that. But I know that a lot of people in my family and a lot of people that are Jewish would take big offense to like hearing someone say that was somehow a part of the synchronistic ongoing destiny of the universe, that 6 million Jews had to be killed and 5 million people with retardation and gay and like all those people were killed for some part of God's higher purpose. But I agree with it. I agree that everything does happen for a reason, whether it's good or bad, and that the God in the book is like saying, well, all he did was like speed up the process to their enlightenment. And the dude's like, hell, like, nah, like, you don't just get to decide when someone gets to die. Like, that's not good. And he's like, well, good or bad is just based on what's going on at the time. And everyone in Germany that agreed with Hitler thought that was good. And it's like, it's all what's the word? It's not objective, it's subjective.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just like a mind experiment that the God in the book was trying to make him do, not necessarily saying that Hitler was, right for what he did, but it happened and people learned from it, and it needed to happen for people to learn at that time. And I thought that was fucking crazy, and I thought it was ballsy of an author to put that in a book.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of have those like same thoughts sometimes. Like, I mean, you can go back and look at a bunch of different things and be like, why is this the way this is? Why are there starving kids? Why are there people that are born with retardation? Things like that. Like, and then I started to think like, yeah, that is just like the manifestation of people's thoughts, and like serial killers and mass murders, mass shootings, stuff like that. That is like the manifestation of all of that into one person. That finally decides to
just act on it.
Yeah,
act on the thoughts of the collective conscious.
Of the mass, yeah.
And it's trippy that you said that, because it breaks it down like that in the book, and then it goes to say that all natural disasters, all things that happen in the cosmos, everything is affected on a grand level by the collective consciousness.
Yep.
Not saying that each individual has the ability to like overthrow or change the collective conscious, but bro, if 7 billion people were on our wave, can't even imagine what the earth would look like, bro. Can't even imagine like the peaceful, beautiful, crazy, creative, enlightened land we would live in.
I don't think people are ready to wake up. I think people are though. It's 2020. Everyone's got their eyes wide open, seeing what's going on. So
a lot of people do.
You think that has a lot to do with what Aaron Hernandez was doing?
I think that Aaron Hernandez might have been a case all his own, to be honest.
I mean, he definitely was.
Do we want to break it down chronologically, or do we just want to like go like bounce around like the different events? And
well, let's just do a little bit of both. I know we're both not experts on it, so
okay,
we'll start with what I have. Yeah,
break it down like the timeline.
All right, so what do we have? So Aaron Hernandez was convicted of the murder of Odin Lloyd. Do you remember who Odin Lloyd was? Yeah,
it was his like best friend, but not football. Well, it was football related because Odin played not professional. He played in a different league. Mm-hmm. But they were also related because Aaron's wife was dating. Aaron's wife's sister was dating Odin Lloyd.
Yeah, that was like crazy. I could barely.
But you find that out later.
Yeah,
they don't tell you all that in the beginning.
All right. Well, I don't really have it. I don't have this written in like chronological order. So what would you say after?
Well, so they dropped that bomb.
Okay.
First, they're going like they actually like bigged his character up in the beginning of the documentary. They were like talking about how he was and like
who, Aaron?
Yeah, how he grew up and how crazy it was that he got drafted. And then they dropped the murder bomb. Like what was he playing for, the Patriots? Mm-hmm. He was playing for the Patriots. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft like had this feeling about him. And that's why he was like the 4th draft pick instead of like first. They had questions about his integrity and his character, but he played football so fucking good that they picked him up, and they said that his character was very professional on the field. He was positive, and like he was just a true American football player on the court and in the locker room and all that. Then the documentary drops the murder bomb, and all of a sudden now he's wrapped up in like this murder case with Odin Lloyd, and then he gets sent to prison, and he acts really weird when he's in prison, like he's supposed to be there.
He treats it as like what did he say, like a training facility,
like a training camp. All he wants to do is see his daughter. He's not like, it's real sociopath or a psychopath, like
for real.
He has no empathy for the fact that his friend is dead, even if he didn't kill his friend, and he believed that he didn't kill his friend. Like he didn't even like seem to be sad that his friend was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just and apparently he got in a couple of fights in there and shit, and everything starts to unravel from there, huh? And
then they dropped the gay bomb, like one of his like high school or middle school
football
friends.
Teammates, wasn't it? Like one of his teammates or something like that. Like they like would fuck around the locker room or something.
They would fuck around. Like
He's saying, I didn't know it at the time, but me and Aaron were in a relationship. He was my boyfriend.
He said he didn't know, but we don't call it that when we were young. We're just hanging out. and sucking each other's pee-pees?
I have no idea what that means. Like, I get it. You're football players. You grew up. I mean, fucking 2005, 2006 in middle school, it's a little different than 2020 in middle school. So I can understand the stigma and kind of like the taboo around feeling like coming out, being gay, and like how you're going to get picked on. But come on, you didn't know you were gay if you're fucking kissing a dude? Like, that makes no sense. That's not some shit that you just do to experiment. Maybe when you're like 2, not when you're like 13, 14. Like, fuck.
I mean, you don't really have it figured out by then, but you kind of would know that you like boy. Like you could definitely come to the conclusion that you like boys, right?
But okay, I'll say that they did say a lot of things about Aaron having a problem with, you know, being comfortable with his sexuality, but the man's dead and he can't talk for himself. That, and we don't know just because he's on a Netflix documentary doesn't mean the 2 dudes that spoke on Aaron's sexuality are credible. So
it's weird that he never did talk about it though, which is that's kind of weird.
Yeah, for sure. But then they dropped the bomb that now Aaron's suspected to have been participating in a murder that happened in a double homicide that happened in 2012, and that's where it starts getting super fucking sketch.
Well, they find that out because they find a car in his garage, right, or in someone's like his close friend's garage.
His I think it's his cousin or his aunt or some shit, and the car was connected to the murder, and it was a stolen vehicle. Yeah,
from Boston.
Yeah.
So
it was the murder vehicle.
Yeah. And that's where that Alexander Bradley dude comes in, which was like his drug dealer / like homie. And they were
he got a plea deal to rat Aaron out, and he'd get a better deal for his prison time. So he's on the podium
talking about how that night where they shot the 2 dudes. Apparently, the 2 dudes that Aaron shot weren't even, they were immigrants from Haiti or something.
That like Puerto Rico, one of the Spanish.
Yeah, somewhere in South America or something like that. And fucking, he said that the guys just spilled a drink on him or something.
Oh, the Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic, boom. And the guys just spilled a drink on him supposedly, and then like the Alexander Bradley dude was just trying to calm him down the whole time, but it didn't work because I guess Aaron has a bunch of anger issues that he can't suppress, and he's always hiding guns in different spots in his cars and stuff like that. So they find the dudes after the club, and like the night the club ends, and they do a little drive-by on these guys, say, "What's up, niggas? Ba."
And then Alexander Bradley claimed that he was asleep the whole time, and that he woke up and Aaron was in the car next to him with a gun pointed to him.
No, that was a different day.
Oh, that was a different day.
Yeah. They went on after all that stuff, and like they kept on partying and stuff like that. And then another time, he thought he saw 2 dudes that were cops or something, and then he's like, "Those guys are cops. Like they're out to get me. They're secret agents." And then the guy's like, and then Alexander Bradley said his quote was like, "Yeah, they're probably out to get you because of that stupid shit you did out in fucking Boston, you know?"
Oh, wasn't that a recorded phone call or some shit?
Something like that. I don't know if it was a recorded, but I know that fool said it on the podium.
Yeah. I remember that. I'm going to pause like the storyline and just say it's fucking crazy for me to even fathom that someone with a $40 million fucking deal in football would be fucking around in the streets, capping people for no reason. Like it like makes zero sense, and I guess that's why there's a whole documentary on it, Into the Mind of a Murderer, because the whole time you're looking at the footage of him on the stands, you're listening to the conversations that he's having with his wife over the phone, and it doesn't seem like he's understanding that these events have even transpired, or he's taking any fucking responsibility for anything that's happening around him. And it doesn't seem like it's phasing him, like, at all. It seems like he's happy to be in jail. He's just like, can't wait to come out. Like, yeah, can't wait to come out. Yeah, no, I'm innocent. Oh yeah, how's my baby doing? Put my daughter on the phone. Like, he's just not even phased that like he has 3 fucking capital murder charges, like 1st-degree murder.
Exactly, charges. Bro. Like, and like that's why it's such a weird case, because it's almost like, damn, can I even trust what that what fucking Bradley's saying, or like any of these accusations? Because then it goes on to say like he didn't even grow up in the hood, but these fools are trying to portray him as a gangster, you know?
Yeah, they were.
So yeah, it's just like this weird thing where.
But that's where the psychopath or the sociopath could be a part of, like, how that ties all in together, because someone that is one of those two, I forget which is which, but either doesn't have empathy for humans or is like completely like he's completely able to like tap out and like not feel emotion.
I think that so sociopath would probably be someone that
I got the definitions. Okay. We got the definitions right here for you. Sociopath. So a sociopath is a person with a personality disorder manifesting in extreme antisocial attitudes and behavior and a lack of conscience. So that's part of it. And then I think psychopath is more like the crazy tendencies.
Yeah, I think that's where you can just like lie and like fucking just do things just on a what is the word? Dimes drop.
Persistent antisocial behavior. So that's what it shares with psychopath or sociopath. Impaired empathy and remorse. Bold, disinhibited, and egotistical traits. It's sometimes considered synonymous with sociopathy.
Okay,
so it's almost the same thing.
Okay.
Damn, that's fucking wild, though. I don't know. Into the
mental
mind
disease
of a
is wild, man. I feel like that's manifestation too type of shit. You know, like it's just. On a side note, I was watching this documentary. I don't even know if it was a documentary. It was just like a little segment on the dude that the Chainsaw Massacre is based off of. He's what's his name? Ed Gein, I think his name, Ed Gein or something like that. But like all like the main murder movies, like Jason and like all that stuff, they're all based off of that dude. Like, cause he was like some crazy dude that lived in like in a log cabin, and I think he like killed his mom or some shit, and like kept all these bodies in his fucking.
God damn.
Yeah, but they all knew him as like, that's just Ed Gein. Like that's just like, you know, like the guy, like he helped out like around the community and stuff like that. But
it's fucking crazy.
By night, he was some crazy ass motherfucker. Or no, he was trying to help his mom the whole time, but he killed like I think all of his other family members or like some crazy shit like that. It was wild. But that's just like I feel like that's just manifestation of like what we were talking about, just thoughts,
like all the
thoughts,
evil thoughts that people have, just like moving through one person.
Exactly, and they're born and they're unlucky enough to, or maybe lucky enough, because sometimes they see it as their prophecy, you know, to
fucking wild,
to fulfill.
But it almost seems like Aaron Hernandez didn't even like the way that the end wraps up, where he gets the new lawyer, and the new lawyer is able to get him like acquitted for the two murders of. What were the two dudes' names? The two dudes that he was supposedly shot outside
we got
the club.
Daniel Abro and Safiro Furtado.
So those are the two guys that he allegedly shot outside of the club in Boston. Mm-hmm. And he got acquitted for those. And then he was up for appeal for the Odin Lloyd trial. And because... this is the crazy part. This is the part where you drop your jaw. Because like he kills himself while he's up for the appeal for the murder of Odin Lloyd, and there's like this weird law in Massachusetts, right? Isn't it? Aren't they in Massachusetts?
I was unclear if it was the law actually a law or what did he? I thought that they just
there was like a loophole in the law.
But I thought that what I heard is that he thought he heard of that before, but was it actually a law?
Yeah.
Did it actually end up?
So it actually happened. So when he kills himself. And he's up for appeal for the murder of Odin Lloyd, he was actually wiped clear of convictions, and then supposedly the fucking NFL was supposed to pay out his family.
And that's what. Yeah,
and then
they tried to fight that shit.
They fought that shit, won, and he was reconvicted for the murder of Odin Lloyd, but still acquitted for the murder of the other two guys. The craziest part of all this shit is that if he was murdering the two people in the double homicide and the double homicide in 2012, that means he played a whole season of professional football as a murderer.
Exactly.
That's the trickiest part.
And which is insane to even think about. Like, sometimes when I just don't even clean my room or make my bed before I leave the house, you know, I be thinking about that shit all day. So to kill someone and then go through a whole season, fuck, bro, you gotta have a pretty strong psyche.
That's fucking nuts.
So that's another, like, fishy, you know, something that you could just be suspicious about it. Like, was he
either didn't do that shit and he was, like, framed for all of it, or he's just a complete and utter sociopath, bro.
Yeah,
like, completely detached from any or all responsibility for his actions. That shit's crazy. And then that shit came out about him apparently having like a gay lover in prison. And then the NFL people on the radio were like, saying, "Oh, I bet this isn't the first time he was a wide receiver, like making jokes about him being gay and like slandering his name in the fucking media after he killed himself, and like just the whole story around him is a lot of shit is just done in bad taste." Like,
well, one of the funny parts was when his gay lover, like the dude from
middle school,
yeah, and his dad were getting interviewed. Then the dad like saw the newspaper article where it said like that he was homosexual, and he's like, "Nah, what? They're trying to slander Aaron's name." And then little does he know his son was having
bisexual
an affair with him, like, you know. Oh,
crazy
shit, man.
And then the wife like denies that that's even real.
What?
The wife like denied that Aaron had any questions about his sexuality, but then one of his lawyers or someone on his legal team was apparently Aaron asked him a question about like, do you think people are born gay? And the dude was gay himself and like admitted that he had he had heard Aaron talk about questioning his sexuality. So at the end of the day, like, it's a real sad fucking story, yo. Definitely. This is one of the saddest, fucking weirdest, trippiest, confusing stories that I've ever heard about a star celebrity. Like, Junior Seau killed himself, but there wasn't like all this other crazy shit surrounding it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like CTE.
Yeah, he ended up with a really severe case of CTE by the age of 27. He was already he killed himself, and he was already like in the NFL by
2010.
But how old was he? He got drafted like really early age.
I think it was straight out of high school.
Because he was definitely like well into it at 22, 23 years old, you know? So,
yeah, I think he was like 20 when he got drafted or something.
That's insane, though. Think about it.
Let me look up the accuracy. Right now, right? Yeah.
So think about that.
5 years from now, convicted murderer and kill myself.
Or I'm just saying, being an NFL professional right at this stage of your life, like, fuck. Like,
he was a beast, too.
Yeah.
That fool had a fucking crazy build. So wait, we're looking up Aaron Hernandez draft.
And then now there's like a bunch of controversy. All these girls think he's like all hot and stuff on the internet. And
that's wild. Yeah, he was a 4th round pick for the 2010 NFL draft, which would have made him 20. That's crazy. Damn, straight out of
20.
fucking,
yeah, 20 years old, fucking professional football.
That's wild, bro.
I feel like that has a lot to do with it too. You know, you can't like, that nigga didn't have any room to grow. He did it to himself. He was training a bunch. Crazy.
That video where he's getting walked out of his like mansion or whatever.
No, and that became
like the trend. That's crazy. He just looks so casual. Like he's getting walked out to be suspected as a murder suspect, and he didn't even look like he was phased, bro.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Could be a sociopath, psychopath, or innocent, but we'll never know because he killed himself. Just like Epstein. Well, we know that nigga's fucking
he's guilty.
I'm just saying he just tried to get away with it by killing himself in prison.
I didn't even know because like I had never followed the Aaron Hernandez story like before I had seen this documentary. Like I've heard the name. I didn't understand any of the controversy behind the name or like why he was important because I don't watch football. So
yeah, me either. Exactly.
I didn't know that fucking him killing himself shit was coming. I had no idea.
Okay, yeah.
Because they kept talking about him in the past tense in the fucking documentary, and I'm like, why are they talking about him in the past tense? Like, what, is he still in prison right now? Like what's going on? And then, boom, he kills himself. I'm like, fuck, that's fucking crazy.
It was crazy, the arguments he was having with his mom, where he's like, fuck you ruined my life, da-da-da-da, if it wasn't for you, none of this would have happened.
I try to talk to you, but I can't trust you. You fucking go and say everything to all my other family members. That's why he was so close with that cousin that fucking stashed the car for him, the one that was dying of cancer.
Yeah, that was a crazy part. That was
another crazy ass part.
Yeah, that's a fucking. You could write a whole book about that shit.
You could write a whole like that. That's definitely a documentary worth watching.
For sure. Watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary.
Someone fucking celebrity, bro. It's like he was a celebrity for being a celebrity, and now he's a celebrity fucking serial killer. But prior to that, like all the other serial killers, like fucking who are some famous ones?
Famous serial killers?
Yeah, Ted Bundy fucking. Charles Manson. The co-ed killer. Like, all those people were famous for killing people. They weren't, like, celebrities who became killers. The only other celebrity killer on the level in football is OJ, but he's not convicted. Or is he? No, he got acquitted.
No, he's not convicted. And I don't know if he has multiple charges. I don't know if he had multiple charges against him for multiple murders. Yeah, so he's in a league of his own, I think.
I think there could possibly be more if he was guilty.
I mean, that just goes to prove that money doesn't really mold the way your personality is going to, play out.
It just magnifies whatever's going on.
Exactly. It's just going to magnify the fuck out of it. He started getting paranoid and having secret gun compartments made into his car. Yeah, exactly. Putting all these cameras. His own demise, what fucked him over was when he put the cameras in his house.
Oh, that was so fucking stupid, bro. Okay, so he deleted like a good amount of the tape. And the guy was literally saying, the prosecutor was saying, if he had deleted the whole tape,
they wouldn't have had shit.
They wouldn't have had shit on him. But you literally see him walking around the house with a gun, like
and
right
then
after the murder.
Wife or whatever, the girlfriend or wife or whatever has like that. She brought out.
Bro. I'm surprised that she didn't go down as an accomplice.
For real,
I am so surprised. Like you didn't know anything. You're tossing a bag. Why do you need to toss a bag? Your husband's not involved in crime, right? He's a football player. So why are you...
That was old trophies, bro. Come on. It was trash day. It was clean day.
Dude, that tripped me out that she fucking rode for her man and not her blood sister, yo.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like, your fucking husband killed your sister's either fiance or boyfriend or whatever. Were they married? I don't remember.
I don't know.
And like and they're seen hugging the day of the murder, remember? Like, she was on the fucking stand saying that they were not close anymore, but then the fucking footage came out of them hugging each other the day it happened. So obviously that shit was a fucking fat lie. Either she knew Aaron did it or didn't know Aaron did it, but like, at the end of the day, she was lying. She had a relationship with her sister. She was trying to make it out to be.
And then they, like you said, they proved that Alexander Bradley could possibly have been like over exaggerating a lot of stuff. He might not even have, or he did get shot, but they couldn't prove that. What's his name? Aaron did it. And that fool was a drug dealer, and he was, he had his own shit going on too. Just like, That's why I hate when they try to paint anyone in a good light in any type of like case like this. It's like. No, they were involved in this for a reason. You weren't just a fucking random bystander and happened to be an innocent homie you were fucking part of this in some type of way, shape, or form, He was trying
to come across so goody two-shoe on the stand, bro. And like, I get it, like, you don't want to go away to be like a murderer and shit, but like, why are you involved in this type of crime if you don't know that type of shit's coming for you,
happen,
bro? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess in 2012, committing a crime is different, right? Because social media isn't the way that it is now. Instagram wasn't out yet.
Well, 2012, Instagram was out.
What, was it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, it wasn't really popping then.
It wasn't as prevalent. Facebook was definitely more popular, for sure.
But Snapchat and all that shit, like, it was out, but it wasn't the way it is now.
For sure.
Like, people aren't just posting every second of their life on it the way that people were mainly just posting their highlight reel back in the day.
Well, it used to be iPhone exclusive, so I just eliminated half of the...
Wait. It's not iPhone exclusive anymore?
What do you mean?
Everyone can have an Instagram?
What are you talking about? Yes, everybody's had it for the longest time.
I'm so dumb, bro. I didn't even know that. I thought that it was still an iPhone thing.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that would be a really poor decision on their part if they didn't have Instagram for fucking Android. Because Android, there's more Android users than there are iPhones.
Is that really? Yeah. But it's just a less expensive phone, so they don't make as much money. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they make the same. I don't know. It's definitely a different quality too. Like,
for sure.
It's like PC versus Mac.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just a handheld version.
Yeah, and I think you can like update that phone more and like do more.
You can hack it. You can do whatever. Yeah, exactly. It's a mini PC basically. While this is a mini Mac, meaning like you can't.
It's preset. It's easier to use. Yeah,
but it's straight to the point. That's why I like it because you can fucking AirDrop. Shout out Apple, bro. Like even though all this technology is really not that good for us, but it's good. It's good to know that we got good technology sometimes. I like it sometimes.
For real. But yeah, you want to wrap up the Aaron Hernandez shit real quick?
What are your final thoughts on all that? Don't let the money make you or break you. Be yourself, I guess. I mean, he was himself, but
Goddamn. I guess Conversations with God book would say that it was meant to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
We're supposed to see that shit and learn from it. There has to be some sort of lesson behind all the events that transpire with that Aaron Hernandez shit. But
try to think happier thoughts. It all starts in here, and then it manifests out.
And if you're gay, don't become a murderer because you don't want to admit it. If that's true about him.
But that sucks that society has set us up or set gay people up to feel, like
dude, isn't that crazy that they painted him like that in the documentary? They painted him out as like a closeted gay man with so much anger that he committed murders.
Yeah, exactly. Like, damn, just because he was gay, bro? Fuck. And then he was, from what I gathered, I guess his main thing was his mom. His mom, he blamed it all on his mom. So, but I think that was just like a scapegoat or some shit.
Yeah.
I can never blame anything on my parents, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't.
Well, that shit that happened to him was pretty crazy, and we didn't even touch on that. So I guess this will be the wrap up. His dad dies, and 2 months later, his mom's already moved another man into the house.
Yeah. I understand that.
That was wasn't that like a friend? That one of his dad's friends, or like someone that was like already in the mix, and then she brought him in the house.
Yeah, it was like someone close to their family. Yeah,
that shit was.
And
crazy.
He was like, "What the fuck?"
And like all of a sudden now he has this new dad, and that's when he started spending time at his cousin's house all the time. Yeah, that would fuck me up too, bro.
Yeah, I understand how your parents could definitely fuck you up, but like you said, you're 27 years old. We were talking about Eminem. Really remember, like, you're fucking old as fuck. Like, the past is the past. If you can't grow up from it, then damn, I guess, yeah, you do have to go murder some niggas or just grow up from, like, fuck.
And so everyone else can see what not to do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be the fucking person that we remember as why not to do this.
Why not to do that?
It fucking sucks, bro. Fucking sucks. God damn.
Well, I guess you choose your own sacrifice, right?
Perfect transition. You either sacrifice your freedom or you sacrifice the fucking terrible thoughts that come into your mind and don't act upon them.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has those thoughts. Everyone has those fucking feelings of fuck this shit. Fuck, like everyone's had those thoughts. Even Chappelle in the special he put out this year, he's like, I'll shoot everyone in this school. Yeah.
That's what, like, when it comes down to, like, mental illness and, like, depression and all that type of stuff, it's like, I get it. And, like you said, you either choose what you're going to have to sacrifice in life, but, like, everyone, obviously, that's why there's music that people are catered to make that type of music. Like, when we're talking about Juice WRLD or, like, emo music that, like, is popularized now, it's like, exactly, everybody's emo. Everybody has a part of themselves that's emotional. I get it that, yeah, you might feel like your life might be worse than somebody else's, but, like, is it, though? At the end of the day, is it? And there are probably people with worse lives, but what's a worse life and, like, what's a better life? Like, it's all subjective to how you're feeling. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. Because the niggas that live primitively off the land that have never seen a TV, a car, or a fucking computer before don't know anything about some damn depression or like, or like mental illness. Like they might have like... They're
starving and they don't know that shit.
Yeah, exactly. They're more worried about those type of things. It's like, I've heard a saying, it's like these type of issues only occur in like, first world like societies or civilizations where we actually have the time to think about being sad or mad or any type of emotion, expressing those things outside of just wanting to get food or fucking shelter or fucking civilization or like family, like keeping love as a thing. It's just, we're so comfortable and like, we're so past even needing to worry about food because it's given to us. We can literally you can get on your cell phone and order Postmates. Yeah, you don't have to leave your house, so we're so past that we're getting into a realm of what actually irks us so hard that like it makes people so depressed that they're 15. I'm so depressed because Johnny didn't or like just random shit. It's like, how could you be depressed unless you? I feel like
that word is thrown around like the word alkaline was thrown around, or the fucking stigma with whatever buzzword people use for certain like whatever, like a anti-vegan or like buzzwords in general. Depression is a buzzword. Like you say you're depressed and automatically people are just supposed to be like, oh, he's depressed. Oh, she's depressed. Like, oh, I know what that means. Like, so sorry for your troubles. But at the same time, it's like you said, everyone feels that way. Mm-hmm. Everyone has moments where they can decide right now, hey, I'm going to lock into this feeling of depression, or I'm going to go make another decision and, try to change the chemical composition of my brain with the activities that I'm doing, the habits that I'm doing, the fucking mantras that I'm saying, the fucking food that I'm eating, the people I'm surrounding myself with, the lack of people I'm surrounding myself with, like the music I choose to listen to, the content that I choose to absorb. All that shit plays a role in your mental health. And I feel like people just write the shit off like it's just something that they can't control, and people really let people do that. People really let people just soak in that shit. And society is giving it a free pass.
I think that's almost purposeful. So, I don't know. I'm like a kind of a firm believer in a lot of these distractions, just like leading us away from the truth, like just different avenues that keep us away from unity. So like, yeah, he's depressed, so he can't be, he has a different chemical compound, so there's no way he can be the same as this person that's over here.
But he's not that far removed.
We're not
that fucking different from each other. We're not so different from each other that like you have such a crazy, independent, individual experience that I can't possibly understand in my life. Like, fuck that, bro. Like, that's not fucking true. Like, anyone that believes that is fooling themselves.
Exactly.
Like, we're so alike and similar and think about so many of the same things. If science can't prove it to you, if the way that you talk about shit with your friends can't prove it to you, then you should hear it from us, bro. You're the same.
Or we're obviously different. Like, our perspectives are like the way, we dress and like, our outside appearances. But like, we all have that core consciousness that knows right from wrong, I hope. Unless you're Aaron Hernandez.
Don't Hernandez.
Knows right from wrong, knows love and hate, knows fibbing, lying from truth, knows fucking, it's just, there's just certain things that I feel like are embedded in human beings, and we're following the opposite route of where we're supposed to be.
Well, we're just catering to the lowest common denominator at the moment. And I think
which is
the lowest common denominator being that person that, gets out of high school, doesn't really know what they want to do. They go to college for 4 years. They get in a lot of debt. They never really find happiness. They settle down and choose to be with a person that doesn't necessarily motivate their higher aspirations. They have a kid with that person. Now they're trapped in a fucking divine bind with a baby, and they don't even know how to take care of themselves. And 18 years transpire. They never really completely evolved into who they want to be. They pass all that generational trauma down to their kid, and then the cycle continues, and that's the average person.
You say that? You say it's promoted?
The society is catering to that lowest.
You think it's catering to it? How do you think it's catering to it?
Because it's not catering to any other thing. Like going out and following your dreams isn't something that's backed by society. Going out and
or at least by mainstream education.
Being happy isn't backed by society. Mm-hmm. It's not something that's promoted. Like, you have to have all those different things in your life to like be happy and like. But what I mean by that is like, the average intelligence, the average understanding of the world, the average knowledge about history, all those things, the lowest common denominator is the person that pulls the rest of society down.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people that are at that like, oh, they're barely getting it or not getting it at all. They're just living day by day. They might not be surviving like the person in India that's literally focused on their next meal, but they're coasting on Snapchat and Instagram until the next event happens in their life. You know what I mean? That lowest common denominator. And I think that Jordan Peterson talk really dived into why you need to choose your sacrifice.
Yeah, let's hop into that.
Yeah.
If you don't know about After School, it's a YouTube channel that's really informative. They just like have different philosophy viewpoints on there and different like conscious, aspects on there. So yeah, go give them a follow. After School, SKOOL. But what was his name? Jordan
Peterson.
He says,
oh my bad. I was gonna give a little context on who he is. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast, and a lot of people in the left wing and in I guess the right wing too, but more the left wing, they don't like him based on the types of things that he says, and he's not really viewed as like that person that you should have on your channel speaking. He's like an Alex Jones in the sense, or a fucking Ben Shapiro, where like there's a lot of people that don't want to hear
controversy.
They don't want to hear him open his mouth and say what he has to say.
Yeah. because he's so extreme with it. Like
he's not extreme.
Oh, I thought he'd be like extreme to one side that like people don't want to hear. Like other side doesn't want to hear what he has to say.
I don't know that much about him. I think that he might be conservative. I'm not sure. I just know that there's a big controversy whenever his name gets brought up with certain people. That's all I know about him.
Hey, he's popping like kernels.
He's popping, for sure.
But so he's talking about how you have to choose your sacrifice. So he kind of relates, or not kind of, he really relates it to the Peter Pan story. And side note, Pan, he talks about Pan being the god of everything. And Pan is the Greek god, and he's depicted as a goat, but it's not even a he, it's a he and a she, meaning pan, you're like pansexual.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that where Peter Pan comes from?
Yeah.
Damn. Pan was a hermaphrodite the whole time?
Well, I don't know if like he's like, but that's where the Pan of Peter Pan comes from. I don't know if like they're alluding that he's like, I don't know if they're alluding that he's a hermaphrodite or some shit. Peter?
Peter Pan. Damn, that's the first time I ever thought that.
But yeah, Pan is the god of everything basically in Greek, or just like it's like sexuality. So. And it's depicted as a goat, or it's like Baphomet pretty much. So you know how Baphomet has a goat's head and like a woman's body, breasts, and then like a man's
genitals.
Like, yeah, exactly. So it's like it's just a pretty much with one being, you know,
the OG like, transsexual person,
pretty much. But so basically, Peter Pan's problem is that he doesn't want to grow up. And the problem with not growing up is that you don't choose your path and you just kind of coast, like you were saying. And he was saying that children are nothing but potential, meaning like what I just said. Like they have the potential to do anything they want. They can choose any path they choose, and they can literally follow it from ground, zero up. But unless they choose a path and actually commit to it, then they're just still going to remain just potential. And so Peter Pan, he has a bunch of adults around him, but Captain Hook is like his main enemy, or like the antagonist of the story. And Captain Hook is a guy that is all about tyranny and just being a fucking evil dude, and he just wants to take over and treasure and all this stuff. But he's being chased by the alligator with the clock in his stomach.
Yo, I thought that shit was so trippy when he broke that down.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can symbolize reptiles and time. It just goes all through mythology. It is just intertwined with just religion and mythology and lore in general. Just even in the Bible, just a serpent and Adam and Eve in the Genesis story, stuff like that. But, yeah, basically he was getting at that the clock in his stomach, or like that whole thing is that you get eaten by time. So unless you decide,
that was a crazy ass metaphor, bro.
So unless you decide time's gonna decide for you. So so you better make your decisions up before it's too late, pretty much. And so basically, by Peter Pan staying at like a younger, or like having that young soul, he kind of sacrifices being able to be with a woman per se, like there's always those occasions, there's dudes that live with their mom till they're 30 and have a girlfriend, but like you sacrifice like the potential amount of mates, or like even just like having them, like they got lucky, but like as opposed to the potential of mates that you could have if you're out there like being active, then it just like it definitely decreases. And especially with maturity, because women are a lot more emotion-based and mature. I feel like I think it's proven that they mature faster. I don't know if that's true or not.
In most cases, their emotional intelligence is acquired beforehand. That's why they often go up instead of down in terms of like who they date when they're younger.
Yeah, see, so you kind of give up. This is more of a male thing too. You give up your will to be with a person, or a person's will to want to be with you, I should say. And so he has to like basically imagine a little girl like Tinkerbell as like his girl, like like the person that he can talk to. It's like an imaginary friend pretty much. He's like a little fairy. She doesn't actually exist. So that nigga Peter Pan, he's the leader.
That's crazy.
He's the leader of the Lost Boys. So I think that's like almost like a metaphor for like if you if you stay with like the childhood, like the child mindset for too long, then yeah, you'll be the leader of the Lost Boys. But what's the leader of the Lost Boys? Just a bunch of lost people that don't know what they're heading towards, you know. So you have to. His words were come up with an apprenticeship or find an apprenticeship, find an avenue where you can be a part of society, whether it be plumbing, electrician, you know, podcasting like we're doing, you know, something that not even gives back, but like just contributes, I guess, to the community, because by contributing to the community, you open your doors up times infinite, you know, because if you don't choose what you're going to do in life, then the life's going to choose, like we were talking about, time will choose it for you. Yeah.
That was such a crazy way to like break the Peter Pan story down. And I think that what you were saying right there, that last part, is super important, because I feel like a lot of people get so caught up in like their ego and like how great that they're supposed to be that they forget, like, if you just fuck around and do nothing your whole life, you're not better than the person that went out, got their trade, became a welder, or the fucking person that became a plumber and an electrician, which are really high paying jobs, but a lot of people are like, oh, that's such hard work, manual labor. But like those people like decided, hey, I'm gonna do this, and then they were able to build a life off of it. And you're sitting over here like, oh, I wish I could have all these opportunities. I'm such a great artist. I'm such a great musician. I'm such a talented philosopher that no one knows and never goes out and does anything, because I'm such a great is like their entire like life philosophy, and they never
act upon it.
They like don't even realize that they'd have a better life for themselves if they like, they don't have to give up their passion, but like just choose something that can get you stable first, and then approach your passion or create a plan. But like you're just so lost in the time's just eating you up. You're just so lost in the what if, why not, what could have been, why didn't this happen to me, why am I not that one in a million Justin Bieber like person. And a lot of people get caught up in the thing where they want 100% of everything right now, instead of being able to take 2% of something great at the moment, you know.
Yeah, and just roll with that until you realize how to keep on building it.
That motherfucking camera just keeps on. We'll just talk for a little bit and then I'll put it back on.
He also brings up that a man named Carl Jung, I think it might be Carl Jung actually, but it's spelled with a J, talks about after you do discover your apprenticeship, you know, and your life path, that you have to go back and rediscover your childhood, that you were, you know, somewhat lost while you were discovering what you needed to do to better yourself in the physical. I like, that's how I would, like, you know, kind of put it. Like, you had to do what you had to do in this world. You got to make the money. You got to support your family. You know, but still go back to having fun. Like once you establish yourself as like a human being, you still got to go back and like, fuck it, go skydiving and, you know, like do like shit like that. Like that's how I feel. Like Jesse the other day was like, you wouldn't go skydiving, bro? I'm like, honestly, not yet, until like I feel like I'm established or something. I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where like I don't want to really test too much until I figure out like I have established what I want to do. You know, like that isn't a life goal for me until after until like other life goals I set priorities in front of. You know.
I totally feel you 1,000%. You're not trying to test the waters in that way. It's almost like a caution. Don't do this until you've made it. Like type of feel. Like you could fuck up your chances of getting to where you want to go if you jump off too early.
Yeah, exactly. You know? But then again, everything does happen for a reason, you know. So, or I'm a firm believer in it. But.
I'm a firm believer in that shit too.
Oh, when he said that plumbers have saved more lives than doctors, that was pretty interesting. That like kind of, you know, just like opened my mind a little bit. Like, oh shit, that's interesting. Like,
how did he back that up?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's actually true, but it's just like hygiene in general. Just like the fact that I think not saving lives like directly, but just over time, the population like, you know, didn't decrease because of plumbing and like how like it fucking keeps our whole like civilization clean. Yeah, shit isn't gathering up and like feet and piss and all that stuff. Yeah,
that's fucking crazy that people used to live like that back then, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we think about it, like, women 40 years ago had completely hairy vaginas, and all men were just dealing with that shit. Like, you think about 150 years ago, every man and woman was hairy as shit, teeth fucking rotten, looked like fucking meth heads. Like women were dying fucking 60% of the time giving birth to babies.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
I don't know if that's an accurate percentage, but like, god damn, it would have been.
But it was definitely more cutthroat. Like, yeah,
oh
for
my
sure.
god, I can't believe the times. Like the times are so bad today.
These days,
like,
it's so funny when people say these days. That's the funniest one to me.
This is the best time to be a human being. What a time to be alive. Shouts out Drake and Future. Shouts out. Because it's a great.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, yeah, in proven history, right now is definitely the best time to be alive for.
Yeah.
For definitely minorities too, like even though we are, the minorities are still getting singled out and stuff like that, but like it's not just the slave trade isn't just blatantly being blasted, like there isn't just.
We're all slaves in a system.
Yeah, now it's just an integrated slave system.
yeah, like we're all at the bottom unless we're at the top, which is like, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
However, in any other time in recorded history that we know of, it would not have been a fun time to be a human being. Maybe back when Egyptians...
Yeah, just maybe besides Egyptian.
When Egyptians discovered the pyramids, because we know they didn't build them shit.
Exactly. They came up from Ethiopia and Kenya and all that, and we were like, oh, damn.
Or another theory is that African people actually built that shit, like a real event. Maybe Egypt is Wakanda, bro.
Well, yeah, that's like the whole lore behind... I mean... Marvel is based off of all Marvel is based off of ancient Egypt.
No way.
Yeah, Stan Lee said it himself.
So okay, because we know that the fucking Sphinx has an African face and not a fucking Arabic face.
For sure,
that's proven. There's a New York.
Most of the statues with pharaohs with broken noses and lips. That's just the cover-ups for African faces.
Crazy, because you go like I went to the fucking Museum of Antiquities in Cairo. And you see Ramses, or no, not Ramses, my bad. Khafre, who is the pharaoh that was supposedly the face of the Sphinx. Mm-hmm. And his face is Arabic as shit in the museum. You see the Sphinx head, that shit has big-ass lips, like the fucking African nose, like all that shit. And then we were watching that Mystery of the Sphinx thing from the 90s, that documentary that Robert Schoch did. I think I showed that to you. Mm-hmm. Where the New York facial recognition detective did a comparison of like the angles of the face and the nose and all the structures, like even if like because Egyptians were accurate to the fucking
T
to
everything.
the T. But the people that built the pyramids were not accurate to the T, like except for maybe the Sphinx the Sphinx temple, which is very accurate. But like if you go and you look at the pyramids, like the blocks are all different sizes. There's no hieroglyphs on them shits, like. All that shit was constructed in a way very differently from how every other thing in Egypt was built.
After, when the dynasties were in rule, exactly.
But that's supposedly the fourth dynasty. The Great Pyramids are the fourth dynasty.
That's what they say.
And you look at the third dynasty, and it's a lot more synonymous with all the other shit that's been on in Egypt. And then the fifth and the sixth dynasty can't even compare to the third.
Shit. Yeah,
not even to the third dynasty, but the fourth dynasty Giza pyramids are out of this world in comparison. So
exactly. That's just it's so crazy. Like when you're talking about it being Wakanda, bro, that's so on point with just vibrational. Think about them being at such a high vibrational frequency that it does look like there's nothing there, and then you have to enter that realm from. However the fuck they were entering into Wakanda, like they were just at that advanced of a civilization.
Yo, what you just said right now was crazy. That was fucking crazy. I never even thought of that. Because like in Black Panther, they're just flying over a field, fly into a fucking mountain. So what if the crazy ass Atlantean or ancient Kemet people either vibrated out of this dimension or they're in this dimension, but it's like we're 2D lines trying to look up at a 3D cube and we just can't see, What if it's all right there in this silly
whatever
humans? You're gonna get here.
You're gonna get here one day, exactly.
And you're gonna laugh at yourselves for all the dumb ass Hernandezing.
Hernandezing you've been doing.
Why you been Hernandezing each other, bruh?
Speaking of, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good.
Speaking of the Sphinx face, that's really hard to say.
Sphinx face.
Sphinx face. I'm gonna send you this documentary. Maybe we'll review it next time. It's not even a documentary. It's like an hour-long video or something. But it's about the comparisons of the face on Mars and the
Cydonia complex.
The Cydonia
right?
complex, yeah.
Oh, I need to see that, yo. I need to see that.
And the comparisons with Stonehenge, bro. And the Avebury Circle.
I don't know what the Avebury Circle is.
Yeah, it's this thing in England, bro. You're gonna trip out, bro. And they even relate it back to the Sphinx at the end too, because supposedly like the same like type of technology they use to do the facial recognition with the man's face and the lion's face or whatever for the Sphinx, they did that exact same thing on the face on Mars, and they figured out it's a half man, half lion's face as well.
But then it goes back to that shit we were talking about last week, where the Anunnaki or the fucking ancient,
whatever, yeah,
the ancient gods, Ra, Marduk, whoever you want to call him, ruled on Mars before he ruled in Egypt, and that kicked Thoth out and went to South America. That when I read that in that fucking Lost Book of Anki, bro, I literally, I felt my kundalini rise and my chakras align. I was like, yo, that is the motherfucking truth right there, because that makes so much more sense than any other bullshit that we've ever been fed. Like, just the fact that there's a pyramid complex on Mars, visible by a satellite, and how the first picture that was ever taken of it was way more high def, and as the years of NASA taking photos of
they got less
HD. But the planet's not going to change that quick. Those structures are huge. So you're telling me that they weren't fucking photoshopping that shit down till it seemed like it wasn't something? You know what I mean? Send me that documentary. We will go over that shit. I feel like we're just helping each other connect the dots.
Always, bro. It's just like, I feel like everybody's here to help. Everybody can remember how I was talking about. Everybody's here just to help each other, just with that one little thing that they're missing out. Everyone's a key in everybody else's doors or locks.
Yes.
But it's like, even when you get on the internet, bro, the internet was created by someone that manifestation of consciousness made it. So in the future, people will be able to connect with each other instantly, because we need to know these things, and we need to connect them as fast as possible so we can learn.
I got goosebumps.
You know,
God,
so it's like,
damn.
fuck, bro. All of it is for a reason. Like, when it comes down to this all circles back to the beginning about collective consciousness manifestation of something. The greater good will manifest itself no matter what, and the greater evil will too. But it's up to us to, what is it? Choose our sacrifice. Yeah.
Before we do the last topic, which was that shit that I wrote down about labels that I wanted to touch on, because we touched on it in the last pod, and I had more thoughts on it. I just want to say, in the Conversations with God Part 2 book, the God says something really trippy, where he's like, there is no devil. That's a part of the point that he was making about how Hitler went to heaven. That was like Hitler went to heaven because there is no hell. There's only one place to go after this life, and it's upwards. Because like the lower dimensions is something humans are trying to figure out God and give God human characteristics. So there has to be a devil to a human, because to have good there has to be evil. But humans can't fathom a realm where all is good and therefore all is one. You know what I mean? Because if everything's good all the time, you don't have a basis point. So the God was explaining, like, you've created these negative circumstances to give yourself a basis point so you can feel closer to God, who is you, who is me, and we are one. Like,
exactly, bro.
But at the same time, I'm like, the duality, the good and evil, like, God is beyond the duality. But I feel like a whole new world opens up, where it's like that oneness that's so scary, that is so intimidating, like the death that we think about, and just merging with the oneness if we think about it that way, or like our lights going out if you think about it that way, or getting recycled into earth if you think about it that way, or going to heaven or hell, how you think about it that way. All that shit is so scary because we can't comprehend what's beyond the duality.
Exactly.
But there has to be a bigger world out there.
I mean,
in the simulation.
To intelligent, I guess, people, not even intelligent, to people that are optimistic, it's fucked. Because unless it's scientifically in your face, you can't get it.
I feel it, though.
Exactly. I think that's what is lost in today's society, is that we don't go with our gut feelings and our feelings of, we used to be so much more connected to this earth, and you being plant-based and things like that, are like, just those type of things being on the internet and that information opens up people that would never even think about being healthy or anything like that. That why would they even think about that? It wasn't put in their face. But now that
it's modeled in the wrong way too.
For
most
sure,
of the time.
Sure. Yeah, everyone thinks that if you just fucking eat a Impossible Burger that you're fucking vegan. That shit's
or
crazy.
You're healthy. Or that veganism inherently means being healthy, which it doesn't. Mm-hmm. You can be a really unhealthy vegan, and that's why it's like...
Which would be... That's so stupid at that point.
An unhealthy vegan is just... That's like your... I'll explain it to you. It's your diehard animal rights activist that's complete ethical vegan that cares so much about animals but has never been healthy in their life. All they're doing is just transferring one set of junk foods to the other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's pointless.
I mean? And it's not pointless for the animals because that person sees the ethical argument.
Yeah, that's true.
And they don't understand the health argument, and they don't understand necessarily the environmental, or they haven't resonated with that yet, or they don't care to. They just want to continue to eat junk food and be the junky version of them that they are, but at least, they're not killing the animals. That's their perspective on it. Now, is that a fucking... Can they be the voices of dietary change? No. Fuck no. And no one in the ethical vegan world that isn't on the health vegan world tip too should be showing what you eat in the day videos or anything like that, promoting how they eat to people, because they're not like, they're unhealthy omnivores. They're unhealthy fucking people that eat meat, but you're not going to them for dietary advice. Vegan people don't just inherently go to other vegans for dietary advice. We look to vegan health professionals, vegan sports professionals, vegan doctors. Like if you're an intelligent person in the vegan movement, you're going to the right place. So they portray it in the wrong way. It's another distraction.
Exactly.
It's another distraction.
Exactly.
You can be completely healthy.
Why aren't we just doing what's right? Why is there an argument about what's right and what's wrong? It's just
taste,
man.
People are so attached to the taste. But let's not get too far, because the vegan tip is a tip that we could go on for literally decades. I could talk about that for decades.
Hold up. Before we even stop that, I just want to propose this one question. Do you think that whoever invented this whole food industry, or this whole mass production of food, and they took advantage of taste, our whole of humans taste buds, and the fact that humans strive off of the good taste of food, so
should we talk about this, because this is like a 30-minute
we can talk about it next time.
I'll briefly touch on it. There's in our first podcast, remember I was like, there's one part of me that would answer it this way, there's another part of me that would answer it this way, and there's another part of me that would answer it this way. I definitely think that there could possibly be a conspiracy to hold people back based on carnal pleasure, and the way that we're so closely tied with our food, and have such a personal relationship to it.
Yeah, exactly. And it is our essence, we need it to survive. Yeah.
And then to think about, you're putting dead shit in you when you're eating meat, and how meat is kind of addicting, and quesomorphine in a mother cow is literally a fucking drug, the way caffeine is a drug, the way that heroin is a drug. That's why people, their hardest thing to give up is cheese, because it's the most addictive animal product. And other goat cheese, goat milk, everything in that is designed for a baby animal to go back to its mom. So when you're eating dairy products of any kind, you gotta understand that it has those addictive properties, the same way that sugar has those addictive properties, or salt has those addictive properties.
For sure.
And because the media is always junk media, that's why it's super food for thought one time, because everything that's blasted to you and is trying to be sold to you is never going to be the true version of what you need it to be, unless someone's truly being genuine, but you don't necessarily make money off the genuine shit. So I could continue to answer the question in all the different ways.
I just proposed it so we can maybe talk about it next time.
I could go for days.
I've always thought about that's deep. All this stuff that's it pokes, it takes advantage of just human nature at a whole, at its base.
Or the Satan nature inside humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't believe in the devil, but the lower version of you.
Lower vibrational frequencies. But one last thing, crystals. I forgot to add this last time, or in the fourth episode, whenever we were talking about crystals. Salt and sugar are crystals.
Yes.
And we use them in everything that we eat, so that's just more proof positive that it doesn't have to be on a metaphysical.
Powered by crystals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we put
getting high off crystals.
Real shit. But anyway,
Dude, imagine if like other crystals like that were used to flavor food, like just like crushed up sorephenite or crushed up fucking.
Amethyst and shit. You just grind it up in here a little bit.
Like, how is it okay to like have tiny ass crystals of salt, but it's not? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? How is that nutritional, but something like that wouldn't be when it also has like it's green, so it's got these minerals, or it's red, so it.
I don't know. Yeah, that was something. Yeah, exactly. That's another question I proposed.
It's a good thing we got this podcast because we can go for days talking about this shit. But yeah, let me bring up the last topic of today, which was just to go over what we were saying about people that sign to labels and label deals. In just a little context, we were talking specifically about what someone could do with that label advance, or like how they would sustain themselves if they didn't use the money from their label advance to like support themselves or change their lifestyle or all that. And I think that I had said in the last podcast that person could work a 9-to-5 along with it, or that person could use like $100,000 of their $1 million deal, for example, to have their living expenses. But then I was like, no, I have like the perfect idea. This is probably how some people do it. I was like, people can work a 9-to-5, save up like 6 months to a year's worth of living expenses, then use their label deal all for their marketing. And I was like, that's like the perfect way to do it. Because like in the last one we were saying, it's not possible for someone to be working fucking 40 hours a week and marketing their music and creating enough musical content for an album and getting it all mixed and mastered and flying to go do shoots. But if they had saved up from working like a year or two and just set all that money to the side so that their living expenses were covered and they didn't have to dip into their label deal, then it would be the way to do it.
So you're saying that they would with a label deal have that money saved up, or after you? Oh, you're saying as you have the label deal, just be saving the money that you're working from doing like. So
let's say you're working on a contract with a label, okay, or you're preparing yourself to approach labels. The whole while you're just working 2 jobs and just stacking. Then when you get signed, you can therefore, like, I'm saying that some people probably do this. I'm not saying that this is how I would do it or how everyone is doing it, but then when you get signed and you get that advance, if it be $50,000, if it be $100,000, if it be $1 million, if you get however much your advance is that the label is giving you to like start your project, you already have all the money that you had stacked up. That's like however much money you needed to live for a year or 2 years at the bare minimum, like the food, your rent, like all that stuff, and it's covered. So every morning you just wake up, you don't have to go to work, and you can just work on your content, and you have that money to go for the marketing, and so everything's just
there. Yeah. Like Jeezy, he came in he said, I came in the game a millionaire. Sheesh. That was off the drug money, though. But
very true.
Yeah. Everyone can find their little avenue in it.
Yeah. We're just philosophers, man. We haven't lived a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, but we think so much.
Okay, yeah. I mean, kind of. You can say that we've lived it in smaller scales,
We have, for sure.
For sure. But anyway, can we wrap it up with that?
Should we wrap it up? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think it's been a really long time.
Yeah, I think we had a good little connection going on there. The electric universe. Well, anyway, this has been Hindsight 2020 episode. I'm going to let you say the number. Let's see if you get it right this time.
I think it's 8, right?
I think it's 8.
Yeah, I think it's episode number 8.
This is number 8, and think about your year, think about your month, your week, your day. But if you regret it, you're sus.
Hella sus. It's not sus, it's tuss.
It's tuss.
And it's bish. Oh, by the way, we're trying to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. So please share the shit. Share our profiles, fucking follow us, tap in with us. Turn on your post notification bell.
Let us know what you want us to talk about. We see you guys that watch it, so it's like, give us some feedback. Fucking, this guy's about to drop a crazy music video.
So is this guy. He's about to drop a crazy song with his girl.
But just stay tuned.
Hell yeah.
Love you guys.